Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Matthew, and today we are completing round 3. So in the first video, we completed the first 4 matchups. So 8 tag teams out of 16, and 2 videos for round 3, so it'll be nice and sweet. Unfortunately, the first video did go over 40 minutes, so probably looking at around the same amount of time for this video. So yeah, the videos are going to be shorter, or the amount of videos is going to be shorter, but the video itself, runtime is going to be longer. Hopefully you guys can be okay with that. But again, 8 teams, just 4 matchups remaining for this round, and let's dive in and pick our competition. Alright, so the first matchup is going to feature LJN Killer Bees as they square off against Hasbro Mega Maniacs. Nope, I take it back. That was LJN Mega Maniacs. As I said in the last video, I didn't exactly change it up or write on the paper, what, if it was LJN or Hasbro or anything like that, because the way I wrote it out originally, and kind of messed myself up with that, so oh well. This one is going to be the entrance gear of Sting and Luger from Galoob as they square off against the High Flyers. That is a toughie. Alright, a Mega Maniacs Custom, that's from Hasbro, as they will do battle against the Barry and Sid UK. And the last matchup is going to feature the British Bulldogs Customs, LJN, as they square off against the Custom Nasty Boys. Alright, I'm going to pull these figures, and I will be back in a split second. Alright, everybody, so I do have the 8 tag teams pulled, and let's begin. So, I did mention that the first tag team was going to feature, or the first matchup was going to feature the Killer Bees as they squared off against the Mega Maniacs. So, I'm going to pull those tag teams. Alright. Mega Maniacs versus Killer Bees. So, Killer Bees kind of had a stay of execution in round 1. They actually squared off against the original Heart Foundation in round 1, but because I had already pushed forward the custom Heart Foundation of Jim and Brett, I really didn't feel like wasting a roster spot, so to speak, on a second Heart Foundation, because I said it before, if that Bret Hart tag team squared off against the custom, Brett and Jim tag team, they weren't going to win. So at least if this way, it gave the opportunity for the Killer Bees to progress to round 2, and fans of the Killer Bees got the opportunity to see it for more than just one video. And shoot, round 2 came and gone, and they advanced to round 3, and I'm super proud of it because these are really great figures. I mean, like I said, both Killer Bee figures probably both are within the top 30 in my opinion as far as playability. Look very simple. You got that nice Bumblebee look to it. Both the trunks. I talked about recently acquiring the B. Brian Blair, just plain yellow trunks variant. Not the most pristine condition figure, but I mean it cost me about $100. And if you're looking at like a really mint B. Brian Blair, you probably have to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars, okay? And at me getting it for like $100 plus shipping, I was happy with it. And I don't know if there's actually a Jim Brunzell variant in that same color scheme where he's just yellow trunks. I thought there was, but there are just so many different LJN variants out there. It's really hard to tell. Now I have so many customs or so many copies that I could just simply just take one and just customize it. But no, I want the real thing when it comes to those type of variants. B. Brian Blair. This is just a fantastic look, a great fighting pose for this particular figure. Great design. And Jumpin' Jim Brunzel. One thing that kind of irks me a little bit, not really irks me, maybe wrong, poor choice of words, but they kind of like, when they stand there, they kind of like lean back a little bit, and like their legs or knees are kind of cocked forward and their back is backwards. I'm like, like they're not like, they're not parallel, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Does it really impact the playability of the figure? Not at all. So it really doesn't matter. It's not really something you should bring up. But to me, I'm very particular about certain things. So it's just something that kind of, every time I look at the figure, it just kind of stands out at me. Still, again, a top 25 figure. B. Brian Blair, somewhere in the top 30, I would place them potentially. Awesome figures, love them. Killer Bees, again, a legitimate tag team. Right there with Demolition, right there with Legion of Doom and the Rockers. Okay, I didn't really know about them, but yeah, Wild Samoans, you put them on there. You put the Head Shrinkers, guys like that. Sure enough. And Money Incorporated, yeah, I like Money Incorporated because I'm a huge fan of Ted DiBiase. And pretty much anyone that was members of the $1 Million Corporation, I kind of like that whole faction that they had going on. So, yeah, I put those guys together. I think they did. I think they worked really well in tandem. Now, the Mega Maniacs. So this actually puts two really great customizers together. So as you know, Eric Boyer from Wrestling Rider does probably half my customs come from Wrestling Rider. Or maybe that's an exaggeration, half. But it might be half. Shoot. I mean, I get an absolute tonnage from him. But I would say anywhere between 30 to 50% of my custom figures, come from Wrestling Rider. Either from his personal collection or figures that he's actually done himself. Figures that he's done recently. And, nowadays, he doesn't even post the figures, for like the last year plus. He just reaches out to me. Hey, I got this new figure. Do you want it? Yeah, I'll take it. Bam, it's a done deal. Otherwise, if I don't want it, he'll post it online then. And, just getting this figure in, which was so special, because, I mean, like I said, when I first asked for him to do this figure, I just thought he was gonna like paint the body, and the fact that he went and did all this extra work. And you wonder why every time I bring this figure up, why I kind of, why I always recommend him as a customizer, because he does awesome work, man. It's incredible. And the one from original San Francisco Toymakers, what was this? I think this was Series 3 release, so. And I don't know if there was, I sent him a box of figures, and I don't know if there was anything wrong with this figure. Maybe that's why he had to build new toes or something. That's why he had to build on the boots. But anyways, as you already know, Series 1 Hulk Hogan, one of my favorite, if not the number one greatest, wrestling figure of all time. And it has to do with the awesome pose. They make the Series 1 Hogan extra thin, which, Hulk Hogan wasn't fat, but, that's definitely not, his look. I would have liked for him to be, like, a little bit more on the size of, like, like a Big John Studd a little bit. Maybe a little bit smaller than that. His Series 5, as far as girth, was a good size figure. But, tremendous figure overall. John Ruggiero. I bought a number of figures from him, and he did a really great job with this customization on this figure. I just gotta remove the shears that were implanted in his hand for this video. Here's the thing. I really like the Killer Bee figures better than Brutus Beefcake. Beefcake as an individual LJN. Now, as a custom LJN figure, it's a different call because I love the prototype version that you would have gotten from Hasbro back in the 90s. You know, this Beefcake figure. So, I mean, it's not obviously 100% identical to what Hasbro initially would have come out with, but, you know, very similar nonetheless. And with this color scheme, and of course with the mask and everything, fantastic. Hulk Hogan is like, him and Bret Hart, it's really hard to imagine them as anything but singles wrestlers. And in a tag team tournament, you really want to focus on the tag team characters. Yeah, you pit them. You put them together with guys like Hillbilly Jim, like Macho Man, like Brutus Beefcake, etc. But do any of them really work really well as a tag team counterpart with Hogan? In this sense, I think Beefcake actually works the best because he's kind of like your Horace Grant to Michael Jordan. Whereas, I don't know, someone like Macho Man, I've used Shaquille and Kobe as an example. But I could have also said Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, but they actually work really well in tandem as well. So, I really love these figures. I think they're phenomenal. One of my favorite figures, Series 1 figures. I keep shocking the world over and over again, and I'm going to keep shocking the world, I think, continuously from this point forward. It's weird, but I'm going to go with the Killer Bees. I think one of the reasons why I'm deciding to go with the Killer Bees, one, yes, because I do cherish them more as a legitimate tag team, number one. Number two, originality, I think, also helps, as well. I love my customs. I'm obsessed with my customs. There's no reason why a custom can't win my tournament. In fact, a custom figure won both my favorite LJN tournaments, so an original figure won my favorite Hasbro tournament. So, I mean, it could go either way as far as a custom or original figures winning this tournament. But so a team that probably wouldn't have made it out of round one if the custom Bret Hart figures didn't already win are already moving on to round 4. Now that is an impressive run. Regardless of whether or not they make it to round 5, round 6, a 4-round run in these type of tournaments is a fantastic run regardless. And being pushed down into the bottom 4 or so. What I say, 16 teams, so 8 teams, so they'll be part of the last 8 teams remaining. That's still a great run. And if they can push past one more random drawing and make it into the bottom 4, anything could happen. So the Killer Bees are removing the second Hulk Hogan LJN tag team from this tournament, as this tag team joins the Hillbilly Jim and Hulk Hogan tandem as being removed from competition. So that leaves Hogan and Macho Man as the only LJN tandem remaining. Alright, so Mega Maniacs is gone. Killer Bees are still in. The next matchup is going to feature From Galoob, UK exclusives, entrance gear, dudes with attitude of Lex Luger and Sting as they square off against the High Flyers. Now, we have already seen both. We've already seen Jim Brunzell's Killer Bees advance to round 4. Very next matchup, we have Jim Brunzell's High Flyers. Can he and Greg Gagne advance past 2 absolutely elite Galoob wrestling action figures? One thing holding back this Galoob tandem right off the bat is the Sting fighting pose. I do cherish this figure. I do think it is one of the single greatest action figures from the Galoob line. That is hands down a no doubter. But this pose itself, I don't know if I got the other Sting figure sitting here close. No, I do not. I don't. So, if you remember from the other 3 Stings, the black pants, the orange / salmon pants, or the blue pants, where his hands were like this. This pose, you go from this to this. So this is even worse than that pose. But that is it. That is the only downside of this figure, and that's the fighting pose. But the actual design of this look makes it possibly the best looking aesthetic figure of the entire line. But when you're a kid and you're playing with these, you don't care about the aesthetics. You want a figure you can actually play and wrestle with and have some fun with. Would I have, if I had this as a kid and being released in just, the United Kingdom, I never would have had access to this. But if I did have this as a kid, would I have used it? Being a fan of Sting, 1,000,000%. Playing with Ron Simmons and Lex Luger, why would I not have used this? One of my favorites, one of my favorite wrestlers. This would have gotten a lot of use. Awesome figure. The pose is the only thing keeping this from being an absolute elite figure. And he does tag team with a Luger figure, which is 1,000,000% upgrade compared to the Green Trunks UK repaint or the Blue Trunks original Series 1 version. And what I love about this is it's actually Lex Luger's face. I mean, that is so awesome. So these robes, and I talked about it in the last time I did these Galoob figures. So they actually were supposed to come out with like a Series 3 Galoob release, but for whatever reason, probably sales weren't that great. I know shortly after the release of these figures, Galoob went out of business, and that's why they reformatted, regrouped, and became original San Francisco Toymakers a couple years later. Excuse me. So maybe they just didn't have the sales or the funds available to come out with Series 3, but you get like a Ric Flair entrance gear with robe type of deal. I think there was like a Jimmy Garvin with robe type of release, and I think there were some additional characters with entrance gear type of deal like this. Trying to think if there was any other new characters, and I'm pretty sure there were. There were probably at least 6 to 8 minimum new characters or new figures, new releases. If they were new characters, I don't think so. Not all of them were new characters, but tremendous pieces. I'm trying to put this off play this off as long as I possibly can, because when I start talking like crazy, I don't have an answer. I just don't know, because once I get to the Remcos, you already know how much I love these particular figures from Remco. When it comes to the Remco collection, the High Flyers have to be if not in the top 3 or 4, somewhere in the top 7 or 8. And I think the only way they would drop that far down is if you start, bringing in some of the Matt Mania figures. I think kind of looking at the loose figures over there. Obviously from Grudge Match, the Abdullah the Butcher and Carlos Colon are still figures I covet. I think Buddy Rose is an absolutely phenomenal figure. The Barbarian is probably one of the most elite figures ever. And I don't know, the Summers maybe. Try to look. I just think that's pretty much it. Yeah, a lot of these figures have really awesome like accessories and everything, but overall, design of the trunks, the accessory, these have to be top 5 figures. They have to be. Absolutely love them. The one thing downside, they're Remcos. They have He-Man bodies. They all have the exact same body, the exact same pose. Upside, they are all playable figures. They all can throw punches, body slams, kicks. They don't have like crazy movable legs and arms. You can move them up and down if you want to, but they can all have that perfect body slam pose or a perfect to be body slam pose that I covet. So I haven't talked about that in a while, but anyone that watches my videos knows that that's my mindset. It's not about body slam only, it's about being body slammed. And the Remcos are definitely really fun figures in that regard. And they do have just enough of a difference in the face to be its own unique figures and whatnot. When I go back and I watch my videos, because when I look at it in the screen, everything looks like crystal clear. Like everything, you can see everything with ease. The clarity is so perfect. But when I go and I watch on the big screen in my living room and whatnot, everything looks so blurry and faded. I'm like, man, no wonder I don't get that many views on my videos, because if it's really that blurry for me, I'm wondering if like everybody else gets like really blurry backdrops. And if everyone else is experiencing that as well, I do apologize, because I keep using the same Google Chromebook computer, and if I really want to kind of do this, more than just for fun, I'm really gonna have to start upgrading and do some start buying some actual cameras and stuff. But for now, it's just for fun, so hopefully the quality doesn't really bother anybody. Again, going off on other tangents because I don't want to make a decision. Alright guys, you're going to have to pick for me, because I don't know. Alright, raise your hand if you want these guys. Alright, but seriously though, I think I'm going to make a choice. I think I'm going to go with the High Flyers. Reason being, right at the end, that whole body slam pose, you know what, for most people, you might think, well, that's so simple, but because I covet poses and so much, for other people it may seem like nothing, but for me that makes a world of difference. Don't take anything away from these. These definitely are so much more than just round 3 figures. These are definitely round 5 type figures, but I really covet these Remcos, and I didn't even know if a Remco figure would make it into when I first thought about this tournament, I didn't know if Remco figure would make it into round 2, round 3, and then I decided to break them up into groups. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll get a couple rounds out of them. But once I figured I'd start breaking them into like these type of groups, I didn't know what to expect, and I'm really pleased that we get to add a Remco to round 4. All right, so Remco's. So that was High Flyers. Go here. Sting and Luger go over there. And where are we at? 25 minutes. Next one is the Nasty Boys Customs versus the Custom. So Nasty Boys Customs. These come from Denver Moore, and they square off. Oh, get back on there. They square off against the Robert Jackson Custom British Bulldogs. So we will start with the Nasty Boys. So I don't think the Nasty Boys would have made it extremely far in the My Favorite Hasbro tournament. Meaning, I don't think they would have gone. I forget how many rounds there were. I think there were 7, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think they would have gone to like round 6 or something. I think they could have been potential round 5. So that would have been reasonably far. But based on random drawings, they could have been eliminated round 2, round 3. But realistically, I think they would have been like round 4 figures. I don't think they would have. They would not have won my tournament. I know that's for sure. But they are absolute elite customs. Denver Moore, among his customs, these are probably my favorite figures that he's made. And everything from because these jackets, they're not removable, but they're actually built on, and they're like a really hard plastic or something. I love that the chains are like removable and everything, but they're built on there as well. So, and then from like original San Francisco toy makers, where you get like those orange Nasty Boys T-shirts and everything. The Nasty Boys, they wore that in WCW and everything. 'Cause I remember those shirts. I don't remember them wearing green. I remember them wearing yellow. I remember them wearing orange, and I remember them wearing black. But like in original San Francisco, they have yellow or like yellow shirts. I don't remember them wearing that though. I don't remember them wearing yellow. I don't remember them wearing green. No, green was what I don't remember them wearing. Too many colors. I get confused. Oof. So, absolutely amazing. Do they win the My Favorite Tag Team Tournament? Awesome figures. They display tremendously. I absolutely love the Nasty Boys. They're legitimate tag teams, and they're among probably my top 5 all-time favorite tag team members. So not only do I love the tag team itself, but they're among my favorite group of all time. So that definitely gives them a huge advantage. Dynamite Kid is someone I am not very familiar with, unfortunately. Prior to collecting LJNs, I don't even remember even hearing that name before. Maybe I have, I just don't remember. Now, the LJNs of the British Bulldogs are not spectacular. In fact, they're low level at best action figures. They're playable. Do you have a lot of fun playing with them? For me, I would say no. I wouldn't say they're the most enjoyable. Like I said, they're mid-tier to low mid-tier action figures. They're playable. They're just not. They're not spectacular. They're not something that you would sit there and just have fun for hours at a time with. I couldn't imagine having these as a kid and getting a lot of enjoyment from. And when I was using them to kind of get a feel for the figures, mediocre. Not familiar with Dynamite Kid. As I started collecting LJNs a couple years back, I started, kind of gravitating towards this character a lot because I wanted to learn about, Adrian Adonis, and I wanted to learn about Ken Patera, and I wanted to learn about, SD Jones, Terry Funk. I wanted to learn about, let me see who was on here. Oh, kind of looking at the shelf, I pretty much knew about everybody else that's on there, or at least somewhat. But Manager Slick, guys that I pretty much, whose names I may have heard of, but I really didn't have a lot of knowledge or didn't remember too much about. I had no knowledge or remembrance of this character whatsoever. So, yeah, went back and watched a lot of old videos of this guy. And over that span, I've become such a huge fan of Dynamite Kid. With his in-ring antics, he's just absolutely phenomenal. And Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid, they work so well in tandem together. I mean, you can understand why they were, tag team champions and why they had the longevity of working so well together for the time period that they did. And they're kind of like... they're like the Rockers to me. To me, I love the way that the Rockers worked so well together in ring. And I don't have, obviously, the nostalgia or the history with Dynamite Kid. But, post collecting, at least I could say that I do have a little bit more understanding of the character and can really appreciate him. Davey Boy Smith, on the other hand, this has always been the British Bulldog to me. This man has done absolutely everything right as a wrestler. To my knowledge, man was never an wife abuser. He was never a drug addict or anything like that. So, his out of ring antics, he was right on par. Met the code of ethics for the company, which was spectacular. Always said the right thing. Never really belligerent or anything like that, which... not really a soft-spoken guy, per se, but, like... doing interviews and stuff, I never really remember him being, like, this loud, crazy, psycho person. Like, I love Roddy Piper, don't get me wrong. I never have a bad thing to say about Roddy Piper, but sometimes hearing him kind of, like, scream at the top of his lungs, like, what? Can I get a teleprompter? Because I want to see exactly what you just said. But Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion. This man was like in every single Royal Rumble, and this man was always a competitor to win. A chief competitor to win that Rumble. I love when they went to the UK, and I don't know if it was Essex or wherever it was, so I'm just going to say London because I don't know. But they were in London, and they had a battle royal, and being able to win that matchup in front of the home crowd, I think that was pretty spectacular. The man was just an absolute beast. I really don't remember him with this look. Obviously, you kind of look at the Hasbro Series 4 with the long braids and everything. That's the British Bulldog I obviously remember. And with the white pants and everything, with the little UK, flag on the back. That, to me, is the British Bulldog. So the British Bulldogs, no, that doesn't really ring a bell for me. The figures may not be the absolute greatest. Rob, when he did a repaint on these figures, he did just enough of a repaint, adding the white pants with the blue and red, by adding the UK flag on there to make it much more desirable, much more reflective to how I remember the British Bulldogs. And like I said, David Boy Smith to me is one of my top 5, top 6 all-time favorite wrestlers, period. And becoming more familiar with Dynamite Kid and his technique and whatnot, I'm really loving the tag team of the British Bulldogs as a duo. Are their actual figures better than what you get from the custom Hasbro? Even if these weren't customs, even if these were the original Hasbro figures, I would say no. I still would like either these or the original Hasbro's better. And I'm such a huge fan of the Nasty Boys. I mean, they've got to be, again, in the top 5 of my all-time favorite tag teams. Maybe in the top 3 or 4. I don't know exactly. I know I'd probably rate Legion of Doom up there. I'd probably put the Rockers up there. So if they weren't number 3, maybe Demolition number 3, maybe Nasty Boys number 4. So that somewhere in the top 5 would be a fair assessment. I love these guys. I love this tandem. I love these figures. But yes, I am sticking with the British Bulldogs for at least one more round. I just think that this was just solid work by Rob. And do they win? Figures that I don't really classify as being absolutely elite, but you know what? They still could win this whole tournament because of everything I just described earlier. And I'm looking at the different figures that I have passed on. Yes, these could be potential. They could win. They do have a legitimate chance. Less than 10%? No, I wouldn't rate it that low. Greater than 50? No. 25%? I think 25% chance of winning is fair. British Bulldogs move on to round 4. And the Nasty Boys are done for the tournament. And the last matchup. So Nasty Boys Customs are out. And these were Bulldog Customs. The last matchup is going to feature the UK Galoob of Sid and Barry as they take on the Mega Maniacs. So, I keep saying that the only tag team that's going to delete or remove Sid and Barry from this competition are another Sid and Barry tag team. But you got to admit, this is going to be a heck of a battle. And if we're at 38 minutes right now, it might take 38 minutes just to decide the winner of this matchup. Because this right here, and I've said this a few times already, but you know, each time it's true, but this is also could be a case for it to be true. This could be a legitimate finals matchup where the Mega Maniacs from Hasbro takes on the UK exclusives from Galoob. So, the UK exclusives, they don't mean as much to me as the Series 1 version. One, obviously I like the black better than the pink. Color difference, that's one thing. Because of the change in color, makes it a different figure, different color scheme, makes it a completely different figure in my eyes. So yes, that's something that I really like. You know, I like that uniqueness, that differentiation. It's still the same figure, same pose and everything. It still has the same meaning. Likewise with Barry Windham. You take away the black, give it a blue. The blue actually makes it pop a lot better. I think I might actually change my mind and actually appreciate the blue trunks better than the black trunks. But either way, still absolutely fantastic figures. There's really nothing more I can add with these figures that I haven't already talked about, you know, in previous videos, or especially in the last video that featured both Galoob Series 1 as well as the LJN Galoob 2-Ups. Now, here we have two specialty figures. One, you've got the Mailway Hulk Hogan, and you've got the prototype of Brutus Beefcake. which has featured the Mega Maniacs version. The Mail-Away Hulk Hogan is just simply a Series 3 Hulk Hogan with the repaint, and likewise with the prototype. The prototype Mega Maniac is just a Series 3 or a Series 3 Brutus Beefcake with zebra pants, just repainted. We all know that the Series 3 Brutus Beefcake is already one of the best figures of the Hasbro line, no doubt. The zebra pants version, amazing. Give him this change to the Mega Maniac color scheme, incredible. Now, the Mega Maniacs version from LJN may not have been enough to offset the competition and move on to round 4. But this is one of the toughest battles you're going to find in this entire tournament. And at this point, with already 2 Sid and Barry tag teams already in round 4, do I dare push a 3rd tag team forward with such an elite team already here at the tail end? It's funny because I've already said I wouldn't delete or remove a team from competition just because I have other teams in. But that is exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm not necessarily kicking out the tandem of Barry Windham and Sid Vicious simply because they got 2 other teams. Did that play a role? I would lie if I said it didn't. I do feel like if it did come down to the US versus UK version, I would probably choose the US version more because I actually had the US version. I may have never had Barry Windham as a kid, but I had, obviously Sid Vicious. So, and I like the black better than the pink, as I said. So that's something. As far as value, of course, UK. I mean, you're looking at like $10 or $15 figures from the US, where the UK you're looking at $100 plus for the figures. So, absolutely. But this tag team should be legitimate finals. If not in the finals, semifinals, somewhere. They've got to make it somewhere in the bottom 4, bottom 6, somewhere towards the bottom. These are, and when I put these 2 together, I knew that they had to go very far in this tournament. So, of course, Brutus Beefcake, Hulk Hogan, Mega Maniacs Hasbros are moving on to round 4. Alright, so with 2 videos here in round 3, putting 16 teams together, and with 8 winners, both videos exceeding 40 minutes. I only put 4 matchups in each video, so I don't know. I might only do two matchups per video in the next round because I don't mind posting a 20-minute video, make it easier on the viewers. But when you're posting a 40-minute video, I don't care how involved and how much a fan loves these videos. It's gonna be really hard for anybody to watch a 40-minute video or watch a 40-minute episode. So, like I said, you really got to be really loving and really be involved in these episodes to want to sit there for 40 minutes to watch this. Hopefully you guys really are enjoying it and you don't mind the amount of time of each video. But, that's it for this round, guys. Let me know what you think. If you guys had, different selections, please let me know who you would have chosen. And, yeah, I'm going to try and get these videos up this week. Today is Monday the 12th, so based on the amount of length of each video, I'm probably going to wait 3 to 5 days, so it may not be this week. I might wait 3 to 5 days. That way, try and get the videos to 100 views per usual. And get everybody the opportunity to watch the video before I post the next one. Okay? Alright. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I will talk to you later. Talk to you soon.